If you don't understand how to connect your waist and you're still using your arms to move in the Tai Chi form, I'm going to show you what to change and how to implement it for any part of the form. If you're not sure what that looks like and whether you're doing it, you'll find out. So I'm going to show you what the mistake looks like first, so you know whether you're doing it. Then we'll do some exercises together to learn how to improve and understand the movement of the waist. We'll also see why it's important, both for the body alignment and in terms of the martial arts application, and also in the health benefits of Tai Chi. So when you do your cloud hands or your grasp the bird's tail, do you swing your arms all the way out to the side like this? Grasp the bird's tail the same, sweep the arms up, bring them down. While it might look pretty, it's not connected and rooted through the floor in the movement. So let's learn now how to connect the waist. We have to be careful not to let the hips flop out to the side. So if I just move my hips, my body is not moving at all, or very slightly, but it's not moving from side to side like you would want in Tai Chi. So we're aiming to keep this nice and solid here. What we want to achieve is a movement that uses the whole body, more like this. To do this, we have to go back to the real basics of body alignment in Tai Chi. And one of those first real basics of body alignment is to imagine that string from the ceiling, which is suspending or pulling the back of the head, not the front, the back of the head slightly upwards. This then brings your spine into neutral alignment, which you'd like to keep all the way through the form. Now if you imagine this string as a solid line that goes all the way from the top through into the floor, you can see how this connection now works through the whole body. So now instead of the top of the body being separate or the hips being separate, everything is now together moving with that one solid string, top and bottom, forward and back. So without moving the hips, if you now move with me, pushing from one foot to the other, keeping the knees bent, not letting the hips flop out, then you start to get this movement. To be able to connect the hands, we need to do a little exercise. So we're going to bring the hands in front of the chest. And you'll see that even though I'm not moving my arms, the hands are still moving from side to side with my body, because my shoulders are moving with my body from side to side. Where if I keep my waist in the middle and I just move the top of my body or flop my hips out or a bit of both, my hands just stay central in the middle of my chest. So that is your loss of connection from waist and body. So they're moving with that string from the ceiling through to the floor, all the way down. Now you have the ability to move your hands without moving your hands. As a continuation of this exercise, we're going to make a little rectangle. So we're going to push out, just forwards, not to the side, and then move across and come in, move across, come in. So this is a very robotic rectangle we're making at the moment, because what we don't want is to start pushing the hands outwards. So we're just keeping forward and back, move the body. So we're trying to move the arms or the hands the least amount possible. And you can go any direction. So now you can go the other way and push back the other way. And I have noticed in classes that even this has not been completely easy for everybody. But once you've got this bit, we can then make it into more of a smooth circle. So you're pushing out, coming in. Body moves. So at the moment we're not doing any figure of 8 or anything else with the waist, we're just going side to side. And now we can turn that into cloud hands as well. Not moving the arms at all. So the only time you're going to move your arms is to do your swap at each end. Move the waist, the same as we just have been with the rectangles. Swap the hands, move, swap the hands, move. So you're going to find that your cloud hands is going to feel a little bit smaller than normal because you're not pushing the hands out to the sides like you do quite often. So you'll also notice if you look down that your hands at the end of the cloud hand is kind of in line with your knee and toe. Even if you do the rotate for the grab, you'll see this at some point, you're still not extending out over here. So now you can look at trying out doing the figure of 8 with the hips, and it gives you a little bit more freedom in your movement and allows you to maybe have that slightly bigger movement. Let me show you. So now with the waist, we're going forward and back. You don't need to see my feet, so that's why I've moved slightly closer, so you can just see the waist, forward and back, or sorry, side to side. Now rotate the waist just slightly so that your shoulders are now in line with your toes. Push the weight into the other side, the same as we've been doing. Now rotate the waist again, push back, rotate, and you can see from my hands already how much difference or how much movement you've then got in that figure of 8. Now you do have to be careful about overextending the knee, so I'll just move back slightly and show you this overextension. So if you're really feeling it in that side of the knee or anything like that, then and your knee is not in line with your toe, you might even feel it on the inside, then you're overextending. So don't take this knee any further than here. Remember, you're trying to keep these hips solid as well, not flop out everywhere. So you can add the figure of 8, do the cloud hands. So you're still getting lots of movement, but without extending the arms outside of the body. So this should be starting to make sense now, and you should be spending more time feeling the movement in the body rather than just doing it. Stay with me to see how this fits in with Grasp the Bird's Tail, which we're going to do next, and the turns from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the short form and back again for the single whip. Remember that this also relates to all of the movements, whether you're doing short form, long form, sword form, sabre, fan, walking stick, anything, the movement of the waist, having that connection all the way down is one of the primary and most important parts of your Tai Chi in all the movements. So even though we're only doing cloud hands, Grasp the Bird's Tail, and those turns today, it still goes across to all the other movements. Now let's look at the Grasp the Bird's Tail. So in the Grasp the Bird's Tail, the Lu and Ji elements after the ward off tend to be the bits where people lose their connection in the waist. So we'll be here and we'll have a nice ward off, and then they'll reach up like this and back down, and maybe do your own Grasp the Bird's Tail now to see how far you stretch out, but also feel in the body what muscles are being used, where it stretches, how does it feel in the knees, what are you feeling in the feet. These are all very important. It's about feeling, not doing. So you do your ward off, and if you're only using the waist, so you've got rotation of forearms, you're doing this movement. So you're rotating forearms like this, so palms go upwards into your Lu movement. So this is the forearm part. Now you need to add the waist part. Going from your ward off position, remember this movement, now rotate waist. Now how to know you're not over rotating? First again, as you look down, kind of want to be in line with your knee and toe. And as soon as you start over rotating, you'll feel a push on this side and a stretch on this side of your hip. You'll also start to feel it coming up the sides. So you'll start to feel these muscles start to be tense. And what we're actually looking for, in fact, all the way round, actually the waist can get tense. And what we're looking for is relaxed waist, because that allows breath, deep breath. So we're rotating, rotate palms. Small movement. Rotate, rotate palms. I say palms, I mean forearms, whole arm. Rotate out. So you're going to find this a much different movement to doing this. So you're also moving your body weight in a different position sometimes when you're stretching out. So again, if you're stretching even further, if you're stretching forwards, you might feel your back heel coming up as well, and more pressure going into your front foot. So ward off, turn. Then turn the waist back, and you're going to see this hand coming across like this. There's a reason for this in the application as well. Moving the weight back at the same time, and as you move the weight back, slight push on the shoulder, you'll see that slight downward movement. So there's no need to come from very high up and then swing down like this. You might see it in competition Tai Chi. It's very different. There are different styles of Tai Chi, but in Yang it's very martial. Rotate, rotate back, and this can still look just as pretty because you're going to be very balanced. And by using the waist, you're making your movement look easier, and you'll see this in the turns between your grasp the bird's tail and also the single whip. We'll get to that in a minute. So as you ward off, rotate. So practice a few times this movement, and then also practice this one and not over rotating. So what you might end up with, instead of the hands coming all the way back, which is what I see quite a lot, is you might end up more in a ward off position with this front arm, ready for your connect and press. So look now at rotate, rotate, make it really robotic to start with. End up with this ward off position, come to the front. So this arm stays in front. If I show you from the side, you'll see that from the ward off, you'll see that as I rotate back, my arm stays well in front of my body, ready for the connect and press. There. Let's practice that on the other side. You can do this mirrored, of course, which means you would have your right foot forward from the ward off. So make sure that your shoulders are down. You've got your connection from the ceiling all the way to the floor. Elbow lower than wrist, because that helps the shoulders stay down. This can still be a very stable and strong movement. You've got to have the right amount of tense, not too floppy, in other words. Rotate waist and forearms, not extending out, we're not reaching. This is a extend and turn. Rotate the waist back, ward off position, connect and press forwards. Then you've got your open roll back. Not going to worry about those elements. There is another video on grasp the bird's tail. So again, from the ward off, rotate out, rotate back, connect and press. Remember as well that in the grasp the bird's tail, you should be able to feel or push through your bubbling well on both feet all the time, all the way through the grasp the bird's tail. The bubbling well is just behind the ball of the foot, middle of the foot there. So in this position, when you're forward, you can probably press more through the front than the back, but you should be able to press through both. Rotate. This shouldn't lift up. So when you go too far, you might feel the back one lift. rotate. Still pushing through both. Rotate back. Still being able to push through both bubbling wells. You need that hinge at the hips as well. Connect and press. Not going to talk too much about the hinge of the hips because that is in another video, and I will link that in the comments and the description. Now for the difficult part, we're going to look at the turn between, this is one that is in short form, between the left grasp the bird's tail to 12 o'clock and the right grasp the bird's tail to 6 o'clock. And then it's exactly the same turn, the opposite way around, to come back into the single whip. You will find these kinds of turns still in the long form, but perhaps between different movements. So for this turn, I'm going to show it from the side. What tends to happen in this turn is it gets very overcomplicated. So everyone does this move back and then they turn. But because they swing the arms out so far, you then lose, because you've lost your root and your connection with the waist, you're not sure where the weight should be, and then end up with people shuffling their feet and not really knowing what to do. It also means that it's completely uncoordinated, so they don't get this middle part and the arms are still in the wrong place. They've stepped in, they haven't got the ball, and then they find it really difficult to go into the next grasp the bird's tail. This is what it should look like. We should be moving the weight back, turn the waist, and then we're going to get to a point where the waist doesn't turn anymore. Our knees are bent. We're in pigeon-toed stance. I could push that, but I can feel it all in my side. All my muscles are tense. I can feel pressure in my knee. So we're only going as far as the waist goes. Waist controls shoulders. Then moving that back, and at the same time we have the coordination, hand and arm work together. Then we can step across and do the ward off. And because it's centered, it looks like you've made it really easy. So I'll show you that again. In the turn, turn only as far as your waist will go. Move the weight back, step. So this gets even better if you can also rotate your ankle further round. So in the turn, you're lifting, hinging at the hips. You can see that slight hinge there. Lifting the toes as far as you can and turning. You get more flexibility by taking the weight all the way off. And if you can get that foot all the way round, then it's already in the correct position to be your back foot for your right grasp the bird's tail. That also then makes that step a little bit easier. So just practice that yourself now, moving the weight back and feeling the difference between moving just with the waist, then bringing everything back in. At the end of that, then being able to step out and what you normally do. So for some of you, this will be a real swing that we try and get, which is fine if you can get the coordination, but it doesn't work in the application. So this does go back to the rectangle that we were doing at the beginning, changing it to a circle. This is exactly what you're doing on that turn from 12 o'clock to 6, and from 6 back to 12 when you turn back to make your single whip. Again, there's a separate video on that, so I'm not going to talk too much about the actual movement because this is about the waist connection. Not only does the overextension not work in terms of the martial applications, but you'll also lose some of the best health benefits of Tai Chi. In terms of the health benefits of Tai Chi, you're trying to improve your balance and posture and know where your center of gravity is. So when you're overreaching, you're teaching your body how to overreach. You're not teaching balance and center. If I overextend this, I can't actually reach anymore. And I've got no balance because my weight is now lifted off of my left foot, and all my weight is on my right foot. I might look balanced, but I'm not balanced at all. Where when you're in this position, You're solid. And she is pulling. Show off. So when we're doing cloud hands, we did this a very long time ago, so the newer classes like April wouldn't have done this. We do a very basic cloud hand. But we did at some point do this hand rotation at the top, halfway hand rotation, pulling slightly down. This is the reason for it, is the application. Hand rotates there, either side. So when you're doing a left cloud hand, it's for a right punch, and when you're getting a left punch, you're doing a right cloud hand. Yeah, and again. So you've got hand rotate there. Again, if I extend, it gives, my grip is now very loose because I'm extending too far away from my body, so she can now pull away quite easily, either forwards or sideways, and I'm not ready, so I'm going to get punched in the teeth. But keeping this inside your body, so again, my hand is above my knee, I've got a lot of control there. I can lift, or I can just use my body weight, move across. As you go through the movements, think more now about how your body feels and connects through the movements rather than what it looks like or what it might look like or what you think it looks like. While understanding the waist and body connection is a huge piece of your Tai Chi work, it's not everything on its own. So you do need to think about the other elements of body alignment. And I will talk more about those in my future videos, along with martial applications and the health benefits, so that you can get the most from your Tai Chi practice.